I got abandoned at 14 with $25,000 debt in my grandma's office. 10 years later, my mom begged me to bail out my alcoholic father. I went to court, took custody, and brought my little sister home. I paid the office arrears in chunks. Luckily, it took only 3 years. The final receipt slid across the counter. I folded it into my notebook. Then I started with general repair. I changed the lock myself, painted the walls, fixed the window seal, and turned the back half into shelves for inventory. The key on the shoelace stayed. More habit than need. Work scaled because I gained more knowledge and experience. I bought clean lots only, listed bundles, and stuck to local pickup. I rented a small truck on weekends, then a better one by the month. By 20, I bought my first used box truck. 2 more followed the next year. I hired 2 part-timers for loading and a bookkeeper for taxes. The office felt less like a past and more like a hub. The 5-year reunion was at a luxury restaurant with a terrace. Inside, classmates traded easy stories, Spain trips, family jobs, promotions queued up. The atmosphere was lively, but somehow I couldn't find my place here. It wasn't envy, it was emptiness. I stepped onto the terrace for air. A server passed with a tray, paused at the rail, and seemed to catch a breath. I said, "Busy?" She said, "Since 13. I said, "Rough?" She said, "It's fine." And silence went back. She set the tray down and looked at the city like it belonged to other people. We spoke again when she cleared my table. Just names, and she asked, "What do I do for a living?" I said, "Resale." "Logistics." She nodded like that made sense. She added then, "And I'm stacking shifts." Saving for something that takes time. She didn't explain. I didn't press. A week later, I came across the same restaurant on a pickup route. She handed me 2 cartons at the back door. "You again," she said. "Yeah," I said. She asked, "You still working nights?" I said, "Most." She said, "Me too." We exchanged numbers, but with no promises. It took months to get to know each other better. Coffee after late shifts, 1-hour dates because of our tight schedules, and rarely cinema on Fridays. On one of our dates, she was kind of upset. Her lease ended, and she had been looking for new apartments for a while. I suggested, as a joke, my office. However, she took it seriously, and she was as happy as a 4-year-old child who had been given the toy she wanted. Of course, I welcomed her with all my warmth. We cleared the front room and built shelves higher. Bed by the window, desk against the wall. She brought 1 plant and a box of bowls. As the days passed, we grew closer. We started making plans, and a year and a half later, I bought an apartment for us, and she also had gotten the money for her secret goal. It turned out to be money for college. Of course, I paid for all her tuition and told her to spend the money she had saved on herself. But she used every last cent on furnishing the apartment, our apartment. Another year passed, and we got married. Although it wasn't too fancy, we will never forget March 15th, 2024.